a tougher topic when it comes to PTSD. Now, everybody knows when you look at the movies and you look at the media, PTSD is portrayed as a person who cannot control their emotions. They freak out and lose their shit and just scream and rage and do horrible things. Okay. By the way, this video and my work is not only for people who have officially been diagnosed with PTSD, but you know you have some of these symptoms, and this might be one of them. In fact, many of my students, clients over the last 15 years in my business as a mentor and a coach to people, helping them create success after trauma, told me over and over and over again that this is the most embarrassing thing. And I agree. I've gone through it so many times. I used to live with it on a regular basis. And I dated a man who also had trauma and who reacted the same way to me, and we were just arguing, and it was like a whole Jerry Springer mess, okay? Like hoedown, wild. So yes, it can get crazy, okay? And by the way, there was no like physical punching. It was reactions. It was yelling. It was just, this is what happens. You have so much emotion stored up in you with all the past trauma when it's unhealed, okay? Those years are long gone and they were unhealed for me. It was when I was trying hard to heal, but when you're going through the process, your amygdala is running the show, your visceral emotional center in your brain. And you need to rewire the brain. You need to learn skills to calm it down, including daily habits, and they need to go on for a while before all of this shifts. Before that, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Now, is it that dramatic all the time for everybody? I had a lot of trauma, including one where I was almost unalived by a football player in high school. So I don't think that it happens like this for everybody. I'm glad I worked through it because it makes me cry, but I had a session with a psychic who I really adore. I love her. She's very accurate. She's very popular on TikTok, and she's really nails it every single time. Session with her, and one of the first things she says, it still makes me cry because she reads the other side, right? She reads loved ones on the other side. A lot of people who she reads had PTSD. It makes me cry. I'm sorry, but she's like, surviving this kind of thing is very, very rare. And it's true. If you look at statistics, it just is. But I'm here to say that if you are here and you're fighting and you are going for it and you are not stopping because you have a power in your heart and you're like me, you're like, I don't know where I got this from, but I just keep on going, right? I do know building a business that helps people keeps me going because I hear the comments, I hear love notes that they send me, not just people who have actually worked with me, but just people who have my stuff online. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that because you can start sharing stuff today. What feels good to you, the truth, vulnerability, and also the strength, and celebrate your strength. You can share all of that for free. Still receive beautiful hope that will keep you going. And of course, I have people in my family who really inspire me and keep me going. I have my big whys in my life too. I know you have one too. I truly wholeheartedly believe, and I work this really hard with my clients, our why drives us, and reminding ourselves of our why. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, our why, it's our reason for doing anything. It's our reason for existing, our reason for being. We remind ourselves of that regularly, it lights a fire inside of us. And I've had so much help myself having someone remind me of that, like me hiring them to do that. That's what my business is. I'm a mentor and I help women to do that. I remind them because there is a lot of disconnecting and disassociating when you have PTSD or you've been through trauma too. Got to focus on what matters to keep you going. And this is my hugest secret, honestly, is focusing on that why front and center and going. So back to those big emotions. What you want to do is learn how to express them in a way that doesn't affect anybody else and in a way that gets them out and honors them. You need to find a way to do that, whether you feel strong enough to do it yourself or work with someone else. You get the tools, you get the techniques, you get the strategies, and you work those. And never give up, because I've had to go through so many therapists, especially. For some reason, lots of therapists. But coaches, I seem to nail it, and I seem to choose them, and it works. 99.999% of the time. I had one time it didn't work. But with therapists, don't give up, okay? Because they have different backgrounds, they have different triggers themselves, they're people. There are always gifts somewhere. Can give you one tool, one thing that you learn. And I know with PTSD, it's so exhausting. We don't have any energy for anything when we're unhealed. Just don't. It's so freaking hard. Whew, I remember like even brushing my teeth and getting up and driving to the therapist's office was way too much. Thank goodness for online therapy now. All you have to do is get up and turn on the camera, but even then it's hell. So if you're in that situation, be compassionate with yourself and say, hey, like you're the most loving, beautiful, gorgeous, like loved child in the world, and say to yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to ask for what I need. I'm going to ask this therapist, hey, can I turn the camera off today? I'm having a shitty day. And you just turn that damn camera off and you just talk there and you ask for what you need. Hey, this is what I need. This is really bad. Trust me, just getting it out of you, like just out of your throat. That's where we store a lot of grief and trauma. Getting it out of you and just sharing it with someone and having it heard, having them be compassionate, even if they're not the best therapist in the world, even if it's not a therapist, it's a friend, it's a neighbor, someone who receives it with decency, heals so much. It starts the process. It allows you to just breathe. It turns down that volume. Pressure, it's like a pressure cooker when you have PTSD. It turns down the volume, just lets out some of the pressure so you can breathe for a minute and you can keep going and have a strategy. It's so important to have a strategy on how you deal with those days and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, and of course apologize to the people who you affect if you ever affect them, because they're human too and they may not even understand what's going on with you, but whether they do or whether they don't, if you've impacted them, of course apology is in order, and it's up to them whether they want to stay in your life or not. Like if you yelled or whatever happened, if you freaked out, if you said horrible words, horrible things, been there, right? So I'm here to offer you hope. Remember the support, remember the self-compassion, and stay with it, okay? You got this, and we got this together. This is how we roll. We roll strong, and we roll together.